And that's, Rob, what Mark Pope is doing at Kentucky. There's no better place to start than Kentucky going into Thompson Bowling. Obviously, Tennessee coming off that really tough loss against Auburn. No Lamont Butler. Andrew Carr plays a minute. 10.5, 11-point underdogs. And they go in there to Tennessee and they come out with the win. And that means that Mark Pope has now beaten Duke in Atlanta. He's beaten Florida. He's beaten Tennessee. He's beaten Texas A&M. He's beaten Mississippi State. He's beaten Louisville. He's beaten Gonzaga. This is obviously another signature win for this group, Rob, but this one feels a little more special, right? Just because of what they were missing.
I don't know if it's necessarily more special, but I do think it is a statement here, right? I don't know if there's a team in college basketball, guys, that is a worse matchup for you if you do not have your starting point guard and your backup point guard. Kentucky came into this game with 6'11" Amari Williams, going to be the guy that you run offense through, going to be effectively your point guard, bringing the ball up the floor, helping you relieve some of that pressure, having the guy that initiates the offense. He led the team in assists tonight, and you're doing it against a team that is as tough and as physical and as strong defensively as anybody in the sport, right? And that, to me, on paper, looks like an absolute nightmare matchup for Kentucky. And it didn't really matter. Now, some of that is because the Vols decided that they were going to shoot like John Martin for the entire second half, 11 for 45 from three, according to Jeff Borzello from ESPN. Yeah, they were 13 for 41 on uncontested shots in this game, and that's something that we got to talk about. But to me, it started from the beginning. Kentucky was able to run some offense that created open looks. I think they hit 4 of their first 5 threes in the first 3.5 minutes. They're up to 12-4. They set a tone for that game. Tennessee's playing from behind, and I don't know if it got in their head or what, but I thought it was the most important part of this game was getting off to a quick start and not letting that Tennessee crowd and the Tennessee team overwhelm you. That's exactly what Kentucky did. Can't say enough good things about him, Kenny.
Yeah, I mean, you come into Tennessee, and Tennessee's got the home court advantage. They shoot 24% from the three-point line, which is obviously uncharacteristic for them. They had every chance to win this game. I was tweeting about it during the game. I was hoping that Kentucky got up 15 early so I could money line bet Tennessee. But, obviously glad that didn't happen. But, I mean, you look at Tennessee shoots 50% – Kentucky shoots 50% from three and takes half of the threes and makes more. They're going to go in and win that game. That's how you go into a hostile environment and win. They played well. They had all 5 of their starters in double digits. I mean, they just played well as a team. They were able to go in. They didn't shoot well from the free throw line, but they shot a lot of them. They did what they needed to do on defense. I mean, Milicic played well, but outside of him, it was Lanier played well, Ziegler played well, but it just didn't feel like the Kentucky or the Tennessee team that we're used to seeing. And like you said, they came out and they punched them in the mouth in the beginning. And when you're playing from behind, they take the crowd out of it a little bit. You start to feel that pressure of wanting to win at home. It gets more difficult.
I just got to hold my hand up, man. Every time Kentucky comes up on this network, I just spent the whole summer just dogging Mark Pope, dogging Kentucky. And I'm big on accountability, man. I think we don't have enough of that in our media today, right? You have too many people that are trying to, no, I was dead ass wrong about Mark Pope and this job. I thought that Kentucky fans were going to rue the day that they got sick of John Calipari and his success. I thought they would rue the day that they, eschewed the talent, right, for a totally different way. But, man, I don't know how this man, Mark Pope, is not the coach of the year, because they were not ranked. They were not picked anywhere close to the top half of the SEC. The expectations for this group were extremely low. And I don't know if there's anybody. I mean, listen, there are coaches that have a case, right? Pat Kelsey certainly is in that mix, what he's doing in the Commonwealth. But, Rob, I just don't know who's doing a better job and who's done a better job than Mark Pope in his first year at Kentucky.
Look, let's read through the wins that they have again. You beat Duke on a neutral court, right? You beat Gonzaga in what was effectively a road game playing in Seattle. You beat Louisville, a team that is as hot as anybody in college basketball right now. You beat Florida. You won at Mississippi State. You beat Texas A&M. And now You win at Tennessee without your 2 point guards and without Andrew Carr, who was the guy that won the game for you down the stretch. Was that, against Duke. And
Yep.
I just think it's the most impressive thing to me about this Kentucky team. And I've said, I've said part of what concerns me about them is the lack of having a go-to guy, right? Like, who are you going to draw stuff up for at the end of the game? And then we said it was going to be Andrew Carr, and then he's gone. Then we said it was going to be Lamont Butler, and now he's injured. Then we said it was going to be Jackson Robinson, and he didn't play all that great tonight. And it's just a never-ending line of guys that can all kind of do it.
Mhm.
And I kind of subscribe to the idea that if you don't have a star, right, or you don't know who your star is, and you don't have a star, and that's a problem. It's like if you don't know who your starting quarterback is, you don't have a starting quarterback, if that makes sense. It's one of those kind of things. But I don't think that it matters for this Kentucky team because of the difficulty that comes with trying to stop that offense that Mark Pope is running. Like, it's a lot of NBA-esque stuff because of the, I feel like this is a new age thing where you have those 5 men, you have those centers that can do all the stuff Amari Williams does defensively, but he can handle the ball and he can pass, and you can run offense with this dude at the high post. You get all that DHO stuff, you get all those zoom actions, and it feels like there's not a lot of teams in college basketball that are doing that stuff. And I think that kind of throws some teams off offensively. Last point I'll make. Our question has been with Kentucky's defense and whether or not they can win games ugly. Well, the last 6 minutes of this game was about as ugly as basketball can get between the monitor reviews and the missed threes and the offensive rebounds they gave up. Kentucky got that done, man. They won a game ugly again. It's the SEC's a buzzsaw and a nightmare, and Kentucky's finding ways to win a lot of games in this league that they maybe weren't projected to win by folks like me.
Yeah, I got one thing that I wanted to say about Pope, and it's that he's exactly what Kentucky needed. They have this massive fan base, and I've talked about this multiple times, but they have this massive fan base, probably one of the best fan bases in college basketball, and he comes in and he actually engages with them. And he's going up into the stands and talking to them and really becoming a part of that community. And I think that that's something that they needed outside of all the basketball stuff. If you can get them on your side and not feel that pressure of Big Blue Nation coming down on you, like that's going to be something that a coach can do well, or where put yourself in a position to do well. But then you also look at a guy like Kobe Brea, who you watch him game in and game out, and it feels like he never misses a three. And I know that he's not the most prolific scorer, and he was their high scorer tonight, but it's just when you have a guy like that you can just draw a play up for, and he's going to shoot 3 for 3 from the 3-point line, especially on the road, that's going to be something that really puts you in a good position.
Yeah, Ken, I just want to follow up on that real quick, Don. I don't mean to cut you off, but the point about Pope and the way that he embraces the Kentucky fans, I feel like after every single game that they win, and sometimes after games that they lose, but especially after games that they win, he's doing something like walking up into the stands so that he can go take a picture with a kid that's in a wheelchair that can't get down, right? He's you see videos of him FaceTiming with somebody's grandma from the court because they waited for an hour after the game to see him come back out because the grandma's the one that got him into Kentucky basketball. And I think that after the way that it ended with Coach Cal and the fact that that was a fan base that felt like he was more concerned about getting players into the program that could then go on to the NBA. Like, we're a players first program. This is how we will get you to the pros. This is how much money they've made in all that. I think Mark Pope understands that what Kentucky fans want is somebody that realizes that so much of their identity, because Kentucky gets dogged a lot. Like, a lot of people make jokes. It's the same thing with Alabama and Alabama football, right? A lot of people make fun of people from the state of Kentucky. And the one thing that they can take pride in and say, no matter what happens, like, our basketball program can kick your basketball program's ass. And it becomes like an identity for people from that area. And I think that he is a guy that understands and truly values all of those people that feel that way. And they will forever have his back. And I really do believe that even if this thing goes wrong, right? Let's say in 6 years from now, they're struggling to make the tournament and they're struggling to find ways to be able to win at this level that they're winning right now. I don't think this is going to be something where the fan base turns on them the way that they turned on Cal. They're going to be sad. If it ends up being that kind of situation, they'll be sad to see him go. And it's not often that you see a fan base that connects with a coach like that. And